Ascot is a sporting arena now on BBC Two, where Julian Wilson waits to introduce the day's racing events.
Welcome to the last day of the jumping season here at Ascot. When they jump this fence later on this evening, it'll be the last fence jumped at Ascot for almost 6 months. Well, it's a lot drier than it was here when we were last here, last Friday evening. There's been a strong wind in the past 36 hours, and the official going remains good to firm, good in places. It's a bit faster than some trainers thought it was going to be. Our feature race this evening is the Michael Page Group Handicap Chase, worth over £10,000 to the winner. The supporting features, the Mitsubishi Diamond Vision Handicap Hurdle and the John Molam Novices Handicap Chase at 6:30. 3 handicaps for you to unravel. And 3 non-runners as well. In the second race, sadly, the top weight, the course specialist Storm Alert is a non-runner. He had a mishap on the box on the way here. In the third race, number 9, the Whole Hog, doesn't go. And in the 5th race, number 3, Golden Drum is an absentee. Well, there's still 4.5 weeks to go until the season ends officially on May the 31st, but the 2 principal titles are well and truly sewn up. In the trainer's title, Martin Pipe has an unassailable lead with 183 winners, which have earned him an amazing £1,254,000. While Tony McCoy's run away with his second jockey's title. His 156 winners make him 38 winners ahead of his nearest rival, Jamie Osborne. And it's Jamie Osborne with his best ever season, who I'm pleased to welcome as my special guest this evening. Jamie, 118 winners, better than ever.
Yeah, I think the gods have been to look after me a bit better this year. I can't imagine why, but last year I was plagued with injury and a bit of suspension. This year I've managed to avoid it until now. I'm suspended for 2 days at the moment. And I've been getting on good horses at the right time, so it's gone very well. I'm very pleased.
Have you finished ahead of Dunwoody, Maguire, Bridgewater?
Yeah, I think I'm just going to have to keep ticking over till the end of May just to stay ahead of Dunwoody. I think he's quite determined to come and catch me, but he's got a bit of a task. I think I'm 20 clear of him at the moment, so hopefully I can stay second.
And you've got an extraordinary strike rate of 24%. Are you picking your rides a bit more carefully?
No, my strike rate was lower than it had been before up until Christmas, and I had an amazing run from after the freeze-up through till Cheltenham, where it was probably a 40% strike rate during that time, so obviously that's brought it up. Why that run should happen, I don't know, but it was just an amazing sort of couple of months that I had then.
Well, despite the absence of Storm Alert, we've still got a fascinating race for the big race, the Michael Page. What are your views on it?
Well, I think Bertone dropping back in trip is the interesting runner. If it were 2.5, I think he'd be a lot shorter price than he is going to be tonight. The doubt with him is whether or not he can be as impressive over the 3.5 furlongs shorter than the trip that he won over here last week. But I think he's the one that they've all got to beat. I think he's coming right at the right time. He hasn't had a hard season. And like I say, I think he deserves to be favourite and should be the one that they all have to beat.
Jamie, thank you. Jamie's with us throughout the course of the evening. Let's now join Graham Robb for news of the betting.
Thank you, Julian. Good evening, everybody. Well, that Storm Alert absence does have implications for the betting, I'm afraid. There'll be deductions for those who had a bet this morning of between 10 and 15 pence. And, of course, now there are only 2 places instead of 3. So let's have a look at the prices for our main race this evening. We can see that Bertone, these are revised prices with that horse taken out. Bertone favourite at 9 to 4. Time Won't Wait was the best back this morning, 11 to 2 into about 4 to 1, 7 to 2, including a 5,500 to 1 with Hills. They were the best back too, and I think you'll find they're the first 2 favourites this evening. So let's move on now to the 6:30 race. And betting here took a wider turn. Joltara, 4 to 1 into 7 to 2, and 8,000 to 2,000 in one hand with a tote. Ladbrokes report money for Glenfin, Princess and Gaelic Blue. It'll be quite hard to separate those 3, and they were backed almost to the exclusion of the others. And our first race on air this evening, the 5:30. Freddie and Olympian vying for favouritism. A couple of interesting ones. Corals report money for Cassio's Boy at 6. And 1 or 2 punters were on very early with Sean Graham this morning for Lyphantastic at 7-1. Interesting after such a long absence.
And so on a Sunday, sunny but windy evening, we move on to our first race, the Mitsubishi Diamond Vision Handicap Hurdle. 7 runners and riders from Peter O'Sullivan.
Number 1 is Lyphantastic, ridden by Jamie Railton. 2 is Olympian, Blinkered, ridden by Mick Fitzgerald. 3, Meditator, also Blinkered, the senior runner, 13 years old, ridden by Sean Curran. 4 is Carrar, Darren O'Sullivan. 5, Freddie, Guy Upton. 6, Cassio's Boy, Tony McCoy. And 7, Appalachie Flower, who's, 2.5 stone out of the handicap, ridden by Brendan Powell. Here's how they bet.
And Olympian and Freddie joint favourites here at 11-4. It's 5-1 Meditator and Cassio's Boy, 6-1 Carrar, 7-1 Lyphantastic, and 33 the outsider Apache Flower.
So joint favourites, but it's the joint third favourite that's caught the eye of our guest. Meditator, the choice of Jamie Osborne. Jamie?
Well, I'll probably be proved to be mad going for a 13-year-old with a history of injuries, but 5 runs ago this horse was running off a mark of 138, a handicap mark of 138. He's now running off 112. He won off a lower mark last time at Ayr in what was a very competitive race. I don't think today's race is quite as competitive. I mean, the doubt is that he's 13 and is he going to sort of string 2 good runs together. But I certainly think he's the value in the race at 5-1.
And he was 100-1 last time.
He was, but I mean, on his old form, as a younger horse, he had a lot of ability, and if he has just found a second lease of life, new lease of life, he still could be extremely well handicapped.
It'll be a strong run race. Will that suit him?
I think it will. I mean, the Ayr race was a strongly run race, and I mean, people have voiced doubts about the ground today, but I think the ground actually today will be very similar to the ground at Ayr. It'll be very nearly good ground, as the ground at Ayr was, so there's going to be no change there for him.
Well, he looks in great shape for a 13-year-old. Let's join 2 others who look similar, Richard Pittman and Peter Skidmore.
Yes, thanks, Jules. We feel great. We're sitting in the summer paddock up here amongst the trees. We feel quite rejuvenated, don't we,
keep
Skid?
making 8-night-like noises to me. It puts me off.
No, that's my normal speech. Anyway, let's talk about the horses, Skew. Meditator did surprise everyone, obviously, at 100-1. Looks well here.
Yeah, I mean, I understand Jamie's point of view. I wouldn't be wanting to back him today. He kicked the last out the ground as Ayr, but really battled on. He looks well, though, doesn't he?
Yes, and that's Jackie Doyle walking out beside him. He used to train him, of course, now with Ben DeHaan. So Jackie's still got an interest, obviously. Well, these handicaps are designed to give everyone a chance. Apache Flower, actually, long handicap at 9 stone, carries stone difference, stone more. But he's moving nicely on this horse. What about Olympian? You used to be very close to this horse.
Yes, a real good horse on his day. The only thing I say about him is that the longer the season goes on, the less reluctant he gets to race. Walking around the paddock, he didn't look very interested. He looked brighter there walking out. Mick Fitzgerald on his back. He'll want a good break. If he can get in front and dominate, he's a lot happier. Lyphantastic, the right runner of Charlie Manns, that'll want to be up there as well. So, and it'll be interesting to see how Freddie's run. But if he can get up there, he looks happier now, doesn't he? Just he'll prick his old ears as he goes past, won't they? Oh, he's happy doing that now. As I say, if he can get up there, he'll take a lot of beating.
Did you actually mean more reluctant?
Yes. What did I say?
Less reluctant.
Less reluctant, more reluctant.
As long as we get it right, just so we don't put anyone at home away. Yes, he's hedging, Well, there are stacks of them here with a chance, but I think this horse, if he produces his runs, his best runs, but I agree with Skew, the time to catch him is earlier. Now then, number 5, Freddie, there in those quite unusual colours these days, is a horse that I actually like. He's got 10-8, Skip.
Yeah, I thought he looked the pick of the paddock. He really walked around the paddock well, was towing his lad round, and he looks fantastic, doesn't he?
He does, yes. I think he takes a bit of a tug. He's got a drop noseband on there, hasn't he? Anyway, he's 11-4 favourite at the moment, and Guy Upton on board. Guy could do with a bit of luck, couldn't he? Because Jim Old's big winners have been ridden by other people.
Yeah, that Osborne for a start, been pinching rides off him. But I think he rides very well, Guy. But it'd be interesting to see how this horse is ridden today. He's been held up, and he's run from the front. So
Yes,
by El Conquistador, who was a stayer himself, so he should get the trip well. And Jim, we always say this, produces his horses beautifully, doesn't he? He doesn't rush them, brings them along steady, and they keep improving. Although this is his third season racing over hurdles, he is still a novice, and he's the type to continue to improve.
Yep, Guy rode him to win last time at Uttoxeter over half a furlong further than today, so no worries about his trip whatsoever.
Yes, there's Cassio's Boy, trained by Richard Eckley, ridden by the champion jockey, Tony McCoy, 11-2 from 5-1. The only thing about this gelding is that I thought perhaps it would want softer going. Again, to echo what Jamie Osborne already said, the ground here at Ascot will probably ride a little bit better than the official going. They've done a great job watering all season here at Ascot, and there's been no real danger for the horses. But if you look at his running, he's been winning at Chepstow, Bangor and Hereford, where the west of the country where the ground is very often softer.
I just thought he was a little bit scratchy action going down there, Skew. Thought he might like it a bit softer.
That's what I've been saying.
Oh, were you? Sorry about that. Right, well, let's catch up with the market.
El Freddie now clear favourite, well backed 11-4 into 5-2. Olympian is 3-1 from 11-4. Cassio's Boy easing from 5-6 along with Meditator. Carrara is 13-2 from 6. Lyphantastic is 8-1 from 7. Apache Flower, the outsider, still 33-1.
Now another one with the orange colours here, but this time with the star is Carrara. I like him, number 4. He's got 11-1. Been chasing. I spoke to Richard Rowe on the way in today, and he said he's decided to keep him as a novice over fences for next season. So he's brought him back over hurdles, and on his best form, you know, he'd be in with a bit of a squeak here. But his last run for me was slightly disappointing. He was 16th of 24 at Cheltenham, but it was a good race there. Faranir won it, Yami, Danjing. It was a pretty good race. Well, he's come back here today over a slightly shorter trip, but Carrara could possibly do with a little bit more cut in the ground. He's a nice horse, this, 13-2 from 6-1, and Darren O'Sullivan, we say it so often, is a lad who, for me, doesn't get the outside rides that he should do. He rides very well.
There is Jamie Railton on Lyphantastic, trained by Charlie Mann, as I was saying earlier. Could be one who'd make the front runner. Hasn't run for a long time, but Charlie, former jockey, soon got the hang of training race horses, and anything that he runs must be respected. Looks very well, and although he's a little bit of a stomach on him, as you would expect for a horse that hasn't run for a long time, basically he looks very fit and well, and Charlie's quite capable of producing one to run up to his best first time. But 11-10, plenty of weight as well.
We've only one more to see, and it's the most amazingly... Look at the colouring on that horse's hind quarter, and it's named Apache Flower. Very apt, I should say. Trained by Stuart Howe, and this one's got bits and bobs of form, you know, even though it's out of the handicap by a stone today. It was second at Taunton over this trip in a 0-100 handicap, and on that occasion finished second to Made Equal, beaten 12 lengths, and today, well, it's obviously... its price tells you that it's got no chance, but I wouldn't totally write it off. Stuart Howe is an underrated trainer, does well with the animals that he's got.
Yes, Brendan looks just to be riding a little bit shorter there, as we saw last week. Brendan was interviewed and said he's just been riding in Japan. Perhaps they all ride a bit shorter out there, and he's pulled his leathers up. Another man I must ask later on is Jamie Osborne. He seems to have pulled his leathers up. Perhaps he'll comment on that for us later on, why he's done that.
El Freddie 5-2 from 11-4, still clear favourite. Olympian is 3-1 from 11-4. A little bit of money for Cassio's Boy. They opened 5, went to 6, clipped back to 5 again late. 6-1, bar those 3.
Isn't it nice to see the spring sunshine on those leaves here? What a different day it is from last week when we were televising the evening meeting. But number 5, I'm sure we can boil this down, you know, to just a couple of horses, Skew, and El Freddie is one of them.
Yes, I think it looks as if it should be between Olympian and El Freddie. Carrara, who you couldn't give a little bit of a squeak to as well. But these horses, it's a bit different for them evening racing. 1 or 2 of them have been out exercised this morning. Most horses aren't usually exercised for the afternoon racing, but because of the lateness, they just get a little bit stiff. I just want to do something in the morning, just have 1 or 2 canters, I suspect. but he's just getting a little bit warm. El Freddie, the winner of the first race when we were televising here last week, was very warm in the first race. The sun's out, but sometimes, as I say, it can be a worry to the trainer or the jockey riding the horses getting warm, because I think sometimes horses are anxious about racing because something's going to hurt them, and that's why they begin to sweat up a bit. But I think this horse is just keen to get on with it.
Well, Guy Upton's just disproved one of your theories, Stu. You said they wear gloves so that the reins don't slip, but obviously they're handkerchiefs. That's really what they are. Well, I don't think they'll be long before they're off. They're coming in. Well, they're not going to let them go like that, Peter, but let's hand over to Peter O'Sullivan.
No, it looked as though El Freddie was going to get a bit of a march on him there, but they're turning again, keeping Olympian very much on the move. Being called in now. Carrar, just a little reluctant. Behind the others, coming up to join him now, though. Olympian takes another turn.
Keep the others facing the right way.
This looks like it. 11 to 4, El Freddie. 100 to 30, Olympian. Cassio's boy is third in as they race down with El Freddie, the leader. Olympian a little bit slower away there. El Freddie lands over in the lead from Apache Flower. Behind them, Meditator and Lyphantastic. Olympian still the back marker. El Freddie over it. Apache Flower. Meditator didn't jump it too immaculately. On the inside is Lyphantastic. Carrar, Olympian. Next, as they swing right-handed, El Freddie, the leader from Apache Flower. Olympian being chased up to join the leaders to try and achieve his favoured position in the lead in the early stages. Still to get there, El Freddie, Apache Flower and Olympian. Cassio's boy is now the back marker. As they come to the next, the third, Apache Flower and Olympian from El Freddie. Little between these three. As they come towards the next. Number 4, El Freddie, Apache Flower, Olympian. Little gap then to Lyphantastic and Meditator. And then Carrar and Cassio's boy. Still very close between this trio up front. El Freddie on the inside, the left of the picture as we see them. On the right is Olympian. Between horses is Lyphantastic. Meditator comes next. I said Lyphantastic. I should have said Apache Flower, of course. Lyphantastic is back in 5th. Coming down towards the next flight. Number 5, El Freddie, Apache Flower, and Olympian, who hit the top of that one. Then Meditator, Lyphantastic, Cassio's boy, and Carrar. This will be the last next time. El Freddie and Apache Flower over the 6th from Olympian. Then Meditator and Lyphantastic and Cassio's boy. And finally Carrar. So as they come up past the winning post with another full circuit ahead of them in this Mitsubishi Diamond Vision handicap hurdle, it's El Freddie. From Apache Flower and Olympian and Meditator, and then comes Lyphantastic, then Cassio's boy and Carrar, about 15 lengths adrift of the leader at this stage. As El Freddie swings right-handed, maintaining this advantage over Apache Flower, getting a reminder there, then Olympian, then Meditator, travelling well the 13-year-old Meditator at the moment, a little gap to Lyphantastic, then Cassio's boy and a further gap to Carrar. Running downhill towards the 7th. El Freddie. Little mistake there by Olympian, who's back in 4th now, as Meditator goes 3rd, Apache Flower is 2nd. El Freddie is still travelling well in the lead at the 8th. Jumps it ahead of Apache Flower and Meditator and Olympian, then Lyphantastic, Cassio's boy, and Carrar. Running down to number 9 of the 13 flights in all. El Freddie from Meditator, who just jumped in second ahead of Apache Flower. Making steady progress now is Cassio's Boy. Upsides him is Olympian, but not looking very happy at the moment with his racing. Lyphantastic comes next, and then Carrar, and it's still El Freddie from Apache Flower. Then the 13-year-old Meditator. Then comes Cassio's Boy, who's moved into 4th and traveling smoothly. Behind him is Olympian, and then Lyphantastic, and a long way back is Carrar. 4 from home this is. El Freddie the leader. El Freddie lands in the lead from Meditator in second. A slight peck there by Cassio's Boy in 4th, just when he was improving to join him. El Freddie, 3 out from Meditator. Cassio's Boy back in 3rd. Then comes Apache Flower, Olympian, and Lyphantastic. They're racing now towards the home turn, and it's El Freddie from Meditator. A long gap then to Cassio's Boy. Racing round the home turn. El Freddie on the far rail. On the near side is Meditator. El Freddie under Guy Upton. Meditator under Sean Curran. These two with a commanding advantage over Cassio's Boy, a distant 3rd as they come down towards the second last. El Freddie over on the far side of the flight as we see them. Meditator on the near side. El Freddie lands in the lead. A little bit clumsy was Meditator, but still very much in the contest as they come down towards the last. El Freddie, who's made most of the running, is going to jump it in the lead. He rather snatches at it, but gets away with it. It's El Freddie, Meditator on the near side, El Freddie on the far side, Meditator on the near side. It's still a race on. El Freddie on the far side, Meditator beginning to wear him down as they come towards the line. El Freddie from Meditator, El Freddie and Meditator. There's a photo between El Freddie and Meditator. It's close as well. Getting up to be 3rd is Carrar from way back, and behind him Cassio's Boy and Olympian, and then Apache Flower with pulled up Lyphantastic. A photo, and a very, very close photo indeed, between number 3, Meditator, the 13-year-old, and number 5, El Freddie. Oh, this is close.
Yes, that was very close indeed. It always favours the horse this side, and when they're coming with a run, it gives you the illusion that they've got up. But that, I was convinced as they crossed the line skew that El Freddie had held on, but seeing the creep there...
Yeah, I agree with you. As a jockey, you always try to come to this stand side because it does seem to favour that. Maybe it's just because it's got the rail to run at. I thought El Freddie was going to win for a long way. He had his ears picked, didn't seem to be doing a lot. But Meditator really battled, didn't he?
Well, the start of the race was also important because you said that Olympian was getting more reluctant. Well, you eventually
he's more or less reluctant.
No. Well, just look at him now because he's out the back there. He's the stripes there, and look, he's not looking keen at all, Skip.
No, he did eventually go, but he virtually unseated Mick Fitzgerald there because he's not wanting to go. But he's away now. But really, he'd lost his race by then.
Yeah, but he'll come back. Now, as it came to the business end, the two who were in with a chance here came right across. Actually, El Freddie stayed in the middle of the course, and the rail in the end, I think, actually helped Meditator.
I agree. Meditator doesn't jump this very well, but as at air, he's really battled all the way. I just think here that the racing apart hasn't really helped El Freddie, whereas the horse this side, Meditator's got the rail to run at. Sean Curran's got his stick in his right hand, really jumped that really well, and is able to keep him straight and battle all the way to the line. But it is very, very close. In a minute, Guy Upton quite rightly, as the horse drifts across towards Meditator, pulls his stick through a very good manoeuvre, and if he has one, that could be the difference between winning and losing. I think it's so important that jockeys can use their stick in the right hand. I mean, basically, there's not a great deal of skill to being a jockeyship, and just being able to pull your stick through is so vitally important between winning and losing.
Well, I think you might get a few letters, Skew, about that one. But anyway, a big jump from Freddie, nearest to us. And at this stage of the race, a length taken over a hurdle, Skew, can be so decisive.
Oh, exactly. He's jumped very well, hasn't he, Freddie? He's definitely in front here, and as you see, the horse is beginning to drift across. You can see him bring his stick through. And what I'm saying is, compared to a footballer or a tennis player, the talents and the techniques that a jockey has to home in on and perform aren't as great as those. And I think it's vitally important for winning and losing that you can do this. Bring your stick through, because a slap down the other side can shock a horse and make the difference between him and keep a horse straight. And just looking there, Guy Upton's body is in front, and it looks like Freddie's body is in front, but as we saw before, it is very, very close.
It is, and the two owners, Martin Lovett of Freddie and Jacqueline Doyle for Meditator, they'll be absolutely holding their breath now. But Peter O'Sullivan says it's 7-2 on Freddie and 2's Meditator in the ring on the photograph. And Freddie's got it.
Yes, the bookmakers are rarely wrong. A welcome victory for Guy Upton and for Jim Old, as I said. He's an excellent trainer of horses. He's been unlucky with his champion hurdle horse this season, that it's been too fast a ground for him to really perform well. And he's got some sort of consolation here with Freddie.
A short head and 27 lengths. Just to recap, first, number 5, Freddie, owned by Mr. Martin Lovett, trained by Jim Old and ridden by Guy Upton. Second was number 3, Meditator, owned by Miss Jacqueline Doyle, trained by Ben DeHaan and ridden by Sean Curran. And third was number 4, Carrara, came from a long, long way back, owned by Mrs. Margaret Sampson, trained by Richard Rowe and ridden by Darren O'Sullivan, with fourth, number 6, Cassio's Boy. Winner of 3 of his 15 races now, this son of El Conquistador, out of Anta Rose by Cornuto, and the starting prices of the principals as follows.
First blood to the punters, Freddie the winner, the 11-4 favourite. Second, Meditator at 6-1, and third, number 4, Carrara, 7 rank. 6-1, Carrara in third. And that's Huntingdon in the first race, the 5:15. First, number 4, Cush Baloo, 13-8 joint favourite. Second, number 2, Idiotic, the 13-8 joint favourite. Third, number 1, Dromin Leader at 6-1. Take returns win. Nottingham, the 5:20. First, number 5, C Freedom, 8-1. Second, number 17, the Butterwick Kid, 8-1. Third, number 9, Chabrol, 14-1. And fourth, number 6, Charmwood Jack, 8-1.
Well, with me, Jim Old, there was a lot of jubilation in your camp when your horse came up first. Did you think you'd won?
I thought we were beaten, actually. I really did, and particularly as we've had 7 recent photographs go the other way against us. I didn't really think I'd ever win a photograph again. We've done it.
It was very tight. He didn't deserve to lose because he'd been in front all the way, and the other one seemed to just join him on the line.
It was a very game effort, and he wasn't really enjoying the ground. The ground was a bit quicker than I thought it was going to be. I don't think he was really striding out on it, but he jumped very well, and he tried his hardest. He always tries. Never stops trying.
And after the recent drought, we rather thought that J.O.'s season had come to its usual early end. Were you just putting him away when the rain came at the weekend?
No. We kept going with him because we know he does like, genuinely good ground. So he was always going to have to stay and run one more time if it was possible. And I may have overstepped the mark anyway, but by my standards.
What about your other horses? Because you are a man who is always concerned about running them on fast ground.
Well, most of them have been roughed off. We've just got 4 or 5 left in that it was necessary to run them if we could possibly get another run in. And if it rains a bit more, we will, and if it doesn't, we won't.
What news of Collier Bay, who was the champion hurdler and ran so disappointingly this time at Cheltenham?
Well, the ground was just too fast for him, and he absolutely hates it, and he's got his own clock in his head which says this is not for me, and Brad very, very sensibly and very wisely, very quickly pulled him up when things weren't going his way, which was a very, very brave and very bold decision. Thank you, Brad.
What are you thinking about for him in the future?
Well, if we had another year, like
this year, then I think we'd have to go jumping fences, because we could always go to somewhere where there's a bit of soft at Lingfield or Newton Abbot. But the major tracks where the big hurdle races are run have been fast all year, and it hasn't suited him, hence his non-appearances. But we could always toodle around novice chases at Toaster and Lingfield and Newton Abbot where it's softer, and then maybe if it came up soft at Cheltenham, back to the champion, perhaps.
But Jim, while nobody was really paying attention, you went to Epsom last week and had a winner at something like 33 to 1.
Yes, that was really, really good. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Always like having a flat winner. Worth about 6 jump winners.
You took the great Seamer to Epsom one Derby day, didn't you?
Yes, we did. He won there, and Backgammon won as well at Epsom. So we had 3 winners at Epsom, and I think 2 seconds and about 5 runners. Lucky place for me.
Any 2-year-olds winging along at your stables?
No, not. No, it's perished the thought.
Well done today.
Thank you, Jonathan, very much.
Yeah, well done, Jim Old. Always good to see him getting the rub of the green, and this is how close it was for that first prize of £4,700 on the near side. Meditator missing out by the shortest of short heads to old Freddie, trained by Jim Old. And by the way, the jockey said that in that first race, the ground on the hurdle course anyway was certainly very much more firm and good. Well, 2 of the runners who ran in that first race, Olympian and Meditator, wore blinkers. Nothing very unusual about that. But there are now 5 different sets of headgear that you can declare with the Jockey Club. And these are they. Blinkers, which includes the half-cup blinker, a hood, a visor, an eye shield, or as the Australians call it, a pacifier, and an eye cover. Well, Peter Scudamore takes us through these various options.
Okay, this is the most common use of headwear, the blinkers. And you can see this is the half cup, which allows the horse to see more, and this is the fully closed blinker. We'll put them on. Most horses are pretty used to them and quite happy to have them put on. As you can see straight away, they restrict the vision from behind. Horses that have a look around them, are more concentrating on the noise or the cars and the crowd around them than they are racing. This will really make them concentrate. The other thing I find with horses that when they're jumping, it sometimes makes them braver, make them go and stand out off more. You see them used on the race courses throughout Great Britain regularly, but perhaps in America you see them even more. In Australia, they're not allowed to use them jumping because they say that if a horse falls, it could push across his eye and he'd gallop around blind, but basically they're very, very good and they can't move. Right, this is a variation of the blinker, the visor. You can see it's just a small split at the back of the cup there. The idea is that the horse can see another horse challenging late in the race, but basically they're the same as a blinker, very little difference in the effect. Here we have the eye shield, not very often seen in this country, used on the all-weather because it obviously stops some of the dirt getting into their eye. Sometimes it's used on the turf to stop the clods of mud going in their eye, but really it's best termed as a pacifier, which they call it in Australia, and in fact it stops a horse pulling too hard. The horse sees the grill in front of him and is meant to relax a little bit. A horse won the Melbourne Cup using these, and it became a little bit more popular, but as I say, very rarely seen in this country. The hood, another variation of headgear, again rarely seen in this country now. The idea, the part that we're concentrating on is the ears here, is because that keeps the horse from hearing all the noises that are going around. They can get very distracted by the noise of the crowd and the loudspeakers. Some people actually put cotton wool in horses' ears to quieten them down. I think one year Vincent O'Brien put cotton wool in the minstrel's ears in the Derby, again to stop him being distracted from the noise. All these devices are designed to make a horse perform at his best, make him concentrate and not let him be distracted by what's going on around him.
And a very willing model there, the horse, was Oddy. I think he won 3 races around here. What a good chap he was. And the headgear very kindly lent by Cumbrian Cassio. Well, Jamie Osborne, what do you feel about a horse wearing blinkers on a 3-mile chaser when it is really mucky midwinter day and there's mud flying around? Is that a problem?
I don't think it is. I mean, certainly riding for Oliver Sherwood, we've had a lot of success with horses wearing blinkers. Arctic Core, for example, when he won the Hennessy, he'd have been no good without them. He wouldn't have won the Hennessy without them. Some of these horses, they get a bit wise and their minds start to wander a little bit, and it concentrates them a little bit, and it certainly makes the jockey's job a lot easier at times.
Have you ever ridden one that it's completely changed his attitude entirely?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can think of several examples. Aldino, when he won the Grand Annual at Cheltenham, he was beaten around Wincanton in novice chase the time before. We put the blinkers on him first time at Cheltenham, and he was just a completely reformed character. And a couple of years Bearclaw was an ideal. He was totally bone idle. We put the blinkers on him, he won the EBF final. I mean, with many horses it has that sort of effect, but obviously there are some that it has no effect on and some that it'll have a detrimental effect on. But I think you've got to give it a try at home. If you're considering using them, you've got to give them a chance to sort of see how they're going to react at home with them on. And obviously if they have a favourable reaction, I don't see any problem in using them.
Sure. Great. For one horse who doesn't need any type of headgear like that, of course, is last year's champion of Europe, Elysia, champion on the flat. Last time we saw him racing in Europe, of course, was in the 40 Meridian Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe, with that spectacular win from Pilsudski, who went on to win the Breeders' Cup Turf out in Toronto. Well, the two champions met last Sunday in the Prix Ganny over 1 mile, 2.5 furlongs at Longchamp. It was a sensational performance by the winner, commentator Jim McGrath.
That's it, they're ready. And away they go in the Prix Ganny. Le Destin drops towards the rear of the field. Early last second is back there as well. Second from the right with the yellow cap. Elysia began well, but the pacemaker Trojan Sea on the left of picture going on here to do his job. From Elysia, who takes up second, then just tucked in behind is Pilsudski in third, followed by Bullington, the pink jacket over on the far rail, followed then by Strategic Choice, the blue cap on the near side from last second, then River Bay, who's second last. The Destin with the green sleeves is last of all. About 6 lengths covers the field as they've gone 2 furlongs, and Trojan Sea, the pacemaker, by a length to Elysia and setting a good pace. 3 parts away then on the outside is Strategic Choice. Half a length Pilsudski, who's got a good run behind Elysia in the centre. Further back is Bullington on the inside. Then back in the field last second, travelling on the outside of River Bay, and Le Destin is last of all as they race towards the first turn. The leader on the inside here still is Trojan Sea by a length or so to Elysia, who starts to loom up now, getting a little bit closer, followed then by Strategic Choice behind them. Half a length Bullington on the inside of Pilsudski in the centre, inclined to just pull a little bit, followed by last second on the outside there of River Bay, and back towards the rear of the field Le Destin. Under 5 furlongs to go now, and Elysia ranges up on the outside of the pacemaker, applying the pressure now. Elysia, ears pricked, he charges into the lead. It's Elysia the leader from Trojan Sea, pumped along on the inside. Pilsudski now getting into the clear and being popped a question, followed then by Strategic Choice and River Bay. Bullington left behind when they start to sprint, followed then by last second, and Le Destin is last of all. Rounding the home turn now, Elysia on the far side doing it easily. Pilsudski flat to the boards in second, followed then by Strategic Choice, and behind them is River Bay. Le Destin right down the outside, then last second, and Bullington, and dropping away is Trojan Sea. But halfway up the home straight, it's Elysia by 2 or 3 lengths. Pilsudski under the whip, can't do any better. Followed then by River Bay. Le Destin is making ground pretty late, but inside the final furlong, it's all Elysia. He's absolutely annihilated them here. Elysia punched out, goes on to win the Prix Ganny in effortless style. Le Destin runs on for second, and third then was Pilsudski, followed further back in the field then by River Bay, and then Strategic Choice.
Sensational performance, won by 6 lengths. Jamie, it's incredible. He's won Group 1 races on firm ground, but that was soft ground. He looks even better on soft.
It was an incredible performance, especially in view of the fact that he'd been to Dubai, he'd come back. They weren't 100% happy with him or the ground in Dubai, and he'd come back and he's performed like that. I mean, it's possible there's still some improvement in him. I thought it was an incredible performance.
The plans to run him in the Coronation Cup at Epsom, well, the ground's likely to be firm. Would you have misgivings about that?
Well, I don't know the horse that well, but obviously, as you said, he's won on all sorts of ground. If nothing else, that promises to be an incredible race if him and Singsfield do turn up. I mean, it's going to be the race of the year, isn't it?
Jamie, thank you. We move on now to the big race, the Michael Page Group Handicap Chase, and it was won 12 months ago by a horse who's been a good friend to both Jamie and to me, Colton.
As they come to the second last, Dancing Paddy trying to challenge toward the right of the picture. Colton over on the far side. Colton and Dancing Paddy. Colton lands in the lead just from Dancing Paddy, but Dancing Paddy putting in a good challenge on the near side. Time Won't Wait is improving all the time too as they come down to the final fence. Colton on the far side, Dancing Paddy on the near side. Time Won't Wait in a challenge between horses at the final fence. Colton and Dancing Paddy. Colton the leader from Dancing Paddy. Time Won't Wait still sprinting over on the far side. Colton from Time Won't Wait. Time Won't Wait's getting up with every stride. It's Colton from Time Won't Wait, and Colton's held him. Colton's the winner, and Time Won't Wait is second, and Dancing Paddy's third.
Colton by half a length. Sadly, he's only run twice this season, the last time in November. What's been the matter with him, Dennis?
Well, after he won the Desert Orchid for the second year running at Wincanton, he picked up a little injury at Exeter in the Plymouth Gin. So he's had a little bit of an operation to his leg. He's been turned out at Roanhurst through the winter. He's going to come in on July the 1st, with a view to going back to the Desert Orchid at Wincanton in October. Hopefully his injury wasn't that major, and he can, if he retains his ability, he's still going to be able to win races.
Okay. Well, let's hope for the best next season. Let's move on to this year's field, and Time Won't Wait, who was second last year. In amongst them, Peter O'Sullivan names them.
And in the absence of Storm Alert, number 2 is Big Matt, ridden by Nick Fitzgerald. 3 is Time Won't Wait, Jamie Railton. 4, Bertoni, a course winner like Big Matt, who's a dual course winner, and ridden by Conrad Dwyer. 5 is Mr. Oddy, ridden by Timmy Murphy. 6, Thumbs Up, Richard Dunwoody. 7, another course and distance winner, Cumbrian Challenge, ridden by Lorcan Wyer. 8 is Society Guest, Luke Harvey, and here's how they bet.
As expected, Bertoni is favourite, opened at 9-4 and now 5-2. Time Won't Wait, the gamble this morning is 130 from 7-2. Big Matt 4-1, Thumbs Up 6-1, Mr. Oddy is 7 from 6, Cumbrian Challenge opened at 8, drifting out there to 10-1, and the outsider Society Guest 25-1.
So, Jamie, your choice favourite at 5-2, and dropping back for the second time in distance.
Yeah, I mean, I've ridden the horse a few times, and I actually suggested that they tried the 3 miles, which he ended up, he didn't stay, and I think there are a lack of opportunities for him around at the moment at 2.5, so it's taking a little bit of a chance dropping him back to 2 miles. But with Mr. Oddy in the race, he's going to make it a real test of stamina, and he'll suit the way that this horse runs. He'll come from off the pace. He doesn't want to be in front too long. He's only gone up £3 for his win here last time, which was really very impressive. He won with plenty in hand, and I could see him arriving late on the scene and just having a little bit of speed to go past the front, the ones sort of that jumped the last in front.
Right, he's the favourite, he's the horse in form. Let's join Richard and Skip.
Well, I think that about sums it up, Skew. We should go home, shall we?
No, but it's just picking up at a point that you said as we watched him walking out. Doesn't he look well? He's had his 3 quite quick runs now, Aintree, Ascot and back here. But some horses tend to bloom in the spring, don't they? And he looks like one. Lovely deep colour to his coat.
And of course, he won't be the only one coming late. Time Won't Wait has to be ridden like that. This could be really set up for an exciting chase. And in the Michael Page Group handicap, 10 grand to the winner. You know, it's a good prize.
Yeah, especially this time of year. As Jamie's pointing out, it's difficult to find races for this type of horse. And as you say, good prize money. I sort of knocked this horse last time, saying I didn't think he would find that much off the bridle, but he definitely proved me wrong.
Yes, now here's a horse we've seen a lot, haven't we? And hasn't he done well? He's basically a 2-miler, isn't he? But his last 2 runs, he was staying on in Ireland last time to Sharon Davis.
I've seen Nicky Henderson saying that he perhaps wants further. He's proved a very difficult horse to win with, although he does seem to like Ascot. Like there's 1 or 2 horses here that have run well round here. It's because it's a very stiff staying track. And as you're saying, you know, that Mr. Oddy could set this race up for a lot of horses coming from behind. And sometimes you look at these horses and you question their real bit to fight at the end of the race, and I think it's because they find races too sharp for them. Here, as I say, they're coming back to him and it gives him a chance. I suppose the question mark over him, although he ran a great race to finish second at Punchestown, is that it is a little bit quick. He was second, beaten 8 lengths to Karen Davis, but you know, the travelling can take a little bit out of them. But looking at him there, he looks in great form and looks very happy in himself.
Yes, he is so good here at Ascot. I mean, he's won decent races elsewhere, Newbury, Leopardstown, Galway, but Kempton even. But funny enough, I think Ascot is made for him. But there are other horses, as we always say. Now, there is Time Won't Wait. You saw him being second to Colton last year. And, of course, this is the horse that poor old Bridgie broke his arm off.
Yes, he got unseated, and then he got a little bit hung up in his foot got caught in the irons. One of the most frightening scenarios for a steeplechase jockey, and got his arm slung underneath him and broke it. But this horse has been a grand performer for Richard Phillips. Hasn't won this season, but will be held up.
Yep, he's owned by a really enthusiastic group called the Old Barks Partnership, and looking at them in the paddock, a plethora of beautiful women, you know. Lots of them. They're all surrounding Richard Phillips.
What's a plethora?
Lots of them.
Oh. Why do you say lots of plethora then?
Right, 3-1 from 130 is Time Won't Wait. Jamie Railton is the rider. Richard Phillips is the trainer.
This is a horse that Graham McCourt's done well, another of our young trainers. He's called Thumbs Up, formerly trained by Nicky Henderson. I suppose he was a top class, well, a good class handicap hurdler. He's not all that big, but he has been winning some been well placed by Graham McCourt to win some small races. He's on his toes now.
Yes, and the one we said that will make the running is Mr. Oddy. Mr. Oddy does very well for Jeff King. Rosie Hill owns this one, and she is a dweller of Swindon. Moneyman beat him last time. Another one who's going to charge the tape, 7-1 shot. You can see the intention, Peter, is for it to be a fast one.
Yep, and Mr. Oddy has made it off into the lead. Winners of 69 of their 237 races. These 7 runners, led by Mr. Oddy at the first of the 12 fences, taken on now by Thumbs Up. Thumbs Up, Mr. Oddy, Cumbrian Challenge towards the near side, is being tracked by Big Matt. Coming down to the second, Mr. Oddy and Thumbs Up, Cumbrian Challenge towards the right of the picture nearest to us. Over on the far side, Society Guest, then Big Matt, then Time Won't Wait and Batoni. Mr. Oddy, the leader from Thumbs Up and Cumbrian Challenge as they come down past the winning post with a circuit ahead of them. Mr. Oddy, Thumbs Up and Cumbrian Challenge and Big Matt and Society Guest, and then Batoni and Time Won't Wait. Mr. Oddy under Timmy Murphy, ensuring a good pace and leading from Thumbs Up and the challenger from the north, Cumbrian Challenge, already successful here at Ascot. On the inside then is Society Guest, then Big Matt and Batoni and Time Won't Wait. Mr. Oddy over the third from Thumbs Up. They're really motoring as they race down towards Swindley Bottom. Mr. Oddy from Thumbs Up, little gap then to Cumbrian Challenge and Society Guest. This is the fourth. Mr. Oddy and Thumbs Up. Beautiful jump by Thumbs Up there on the outside. Batoni wasn't 2 foot perfect at that one. They're racing down towards the first of the ditches, number 5 of the 12 fences in all. And it's Mr. Oddy and Thumbs Up from Big Matt moving up towards the inside of Cumbrian Challenge, who jumps out to the left a little bit there. Time Won't Wait is making a little bit of progress on the inside, but Tony's getting a little bit closer, coming down to the water now, which is number 6, and it's Mr. Oddy who jumps it in the lead from Thumbs Up and Big Matt, and Time Won't Wait on the inside making good ground. Cumbrian Challenge towards the outer, Batoni and Society Guest, the back marker of the septet now, as Mr. Oddy still makes it from Thumbs Up. Cumbrian Challenge and Time Won't Wait and Big Matt, and on his Big Matt's outside with the sheepskin noseband and getting more prominent is Batoni. Society Guest still the back marker over the 7th, and Thumbs Up just landed in the lead there from Mr. Oddy. Cumbrian Challenge, Time Won't Wait, Big Matt and Batoni over the 8th. Lovely jump by the leader there. Thumbs Up from Mr. Oddy on the inside. Time Won't Wait, Cumbrian Challenge at Batoni. The final ditch, 4 out. Thumbs Up, another cracking jump in the lead. A mistake there by Big Matt. Looks as though that puts him out of it. Coming down towards the 3rd last, and as they do so, Mr. Oddy back in the picture on the near side. Thumbs Up on the far side. Mistake by Time Won't Wait there. Looks to have put him out of it. Racing now towards the home turn. 2 fences left to jump in the Michael Page Group handicap chase. Mr. Oddy on the far side, on the near side. It's Thumbs Up. These two have had it between them all the way so far. Bertoni making ground just in behind the leaders. Cumbrian Challenge still there towards the right of the picture, not far behind the lead. Coming down towards the final fence now. Thumbs up in the center. Mr. Oddy on the far side. Cumbrian Challenge and Lorcan Wyer putting down a challenge now towards the near side. Thumbs up from Cumbrian Challenge now at the final fence. Thumbs up comes to it just the leader from Cumbrian in second, racing into the closing stages. And Cumbrian Challenge is beginning to sprint on the near side, and it looks as though he's going to win it, and striding up towards the line, Cumbrian Challenge wins it. At the line, Cumbrian Challenge is the winner. Second is Thumbs Up. It's very close for third between on the near side, Time Won't Wait, who finished like a train, and Mr. Oddy on the far side behind them. After a decent interval came Society Guest and then Bertoni and Big Matt, and so the result of the Michael Page Group Handicap Chase. First, number 7, Cumbrian Challenge, owned by Cumbrian Industrials Limited, trained by Tim Easterby and written by Lorcan Wyer. Second was number 6, Thumbs Up, owned by Mrs. B. Taylor, trained by Graham McCourt and written by Richard Dunwoody, and it's a photo for third place. And here it comes. Third was number 5, Mr. Oddy, and fourth, number 3, Time Won't Wait. But this is the winner, number 7, for the second time over this course and distance. Won here last time in November 95, Cumbrian Challenge.
Yes, and if there is a hard luck story, it's the horse in behind, Time Won't Wait, the red with the black cap and the white sleeves. Just watch him now, just crashes through that fence. He'd been running away to that point, and really it would take an extraordinary performance to get up and win again. Lorcan Wyer, the eventual winner, is sat in third with the blue with the white sleeves. Went to pick his stick up then, and so often you do that, and the horse comes back on the bridle underneath you, and he's suddenly happy with his position. In front is Mr. Oddy and a terrific ride by Timmy Murphy. Richard Dunwoody on the outside here with the pink with the black stars. Feels very, very comfortable. You can see he's doing everything right on him, sitting still on the horse, giving him a chance to jump this second last well, fill this horse's lungs with oxygen for the final burst for home. But menacingly on the outside is this former good hurdler who loves this top of ground, Cumbrian Challenge and Lorcan Wyer.
Yes, and he was coming back in trip today, and he was well up to it. Don't forget Bertoni there, and running on to the last of that group is Society Guest under Luke Harvey for Andy Turnell. I know he's an 11-year-old, but he'll win more races. But up front, we can see Jamie Railton switching Time Won't Wait, who's just hanging because had he not made that mistake, he'd have been sitting running in behind them. But here, Lorcan he was quite happy to sit there and delay his challenge till after the last. But I must say, what a goodbye Thumbs Up was for Graham McCourt. The horse has won about 14 grand this year, having only cost 8 as a fun horse.
That's right. I think this is a good class race. Horses from further back will be winning again. These horses like the top of ground, and they put up a spectacular performance. Just as I said, unlucky that Time Won't Wait making the awful blunder.
How nice to see Lorcan Wyer back winning on BBC television, because we saw him have 2 falls at Aintree, of course, at the November meeting, and absolutely marmelised. Here he is back winning for Tim Easterby. There's a long-standing head dad travelling out of Granger, putting the cooler sheet on. But let's have another look now, a different view from the inside, and pick it up here. 3 of them almost in the air together. Time Won't Wait on the far side. Richard Dunwoody had ridden a super race on Thumbs Up, but Lorcan Wyer knew what he'd got to do, and he knew what he had underneath him.
That's right, and again we saw Richard Dunwoody pull his stick quickly through to his left hand, keeps his Thumbs Up straight and on the rail, but it isn't good enough to challenge Cumbrian Challenge, and Lorcan is only having to wave his stick at him. A nice feeling for Lorcan to come down here on to an evening meeting and ride a big winner.
10-1 Cumbrian Challenge.
Yes, that's number 23 of the season for a very indifferent season by his standards for Lorcan. And as Richard Skew said, very good to see him back in the winner's circle. Winner of 9 of his 35 races now, this 8-year-old Cumbrian Challenge. The starting prices and the results to date as follows.
And the winner, Cumbrian Challenge, started at 10-1. Second, number 6, Thumbs Up, 7-1. Third, number 5, Mr. Oddy, 7-1. The total returns win £10.30, places 320 and 180, only 7 round the 2 places. Forecast 31.80, straight forecast 63.89, and the tri-cast £467.33. Huntingdon, the 5.45, the odds-on favourite, number 2, Secret Bay, winning 5-2 on. Second, number 4, Cool Bandit, 16-1. Third, number 9, Tau, 40-1. Totes win 130, places 110, 330, 930. Dual forecast 9.90, straight forecast £7.60. Nottingham at 5.50, the winner number 7, Manazil, at 7-1. Second, number 11, Sellette, 11-4. Third, number 5, Sarah's Pearl, 11-2. The totes win £6.60, places £4, £1.10, £1.80. The dual forecast £18.10, straight forecast £25.20.
Well, as we thought, it was a great race, run from the flagpole, good jumping for the main part, but in the case of Time Won't Wait, perhaps a mistake at the third last, costing the race. Jamie watched it with me. Jamie, as we anticipated, a good gallop.
Good gallop. I thought they could have gone half a stride quicker, and then we were proved wrong. Burton didn't really have the pace necessary to lay up comfortably and deliver a challenge. It's hard to see the winner winning on the book, but there we go.
Well, let's pick it up from a mile out. And going down to the water for the second time, we've still got Mr. Oddy in front, pressed by Thumbs Up. And the Cumbrian Challenge had always had a good position there in third place.
Yeah, he'd been running over a longer trip, and so obviously, he was in a similar boat to Baton. But he's just always travelled a little bit more comfortably than Baton did through the race. I thought Richard Dunwoody was going as well as anything here. I thought, and certainly still going down to the last. He's still
on Thumbs Up.
On Thumbs Up, yeah, to have plenty of force underneath him. Mr. Oddy's run his usual game as a pebble race. He's always there or thereabouts, and because he always runs so consistently, the handicapper doesn't really ever drop him or anything like that. But he really does stay on well for a while.
The one horse whose jumping let him down was Big Matt in the yellow at the back, not to mention Luke Harvey on the Society Guest.
Yeah, Big Matt ran an incredibly good race last week at Punchestown, and he just hasn't really reproduced that here. He was second to Claire on Davis over there, and on that run he'd have had a chance, but as he's done before, he doesn't really string two good runs together.
But right here, there are about 4 or 5 with a chance. Time Won't Wait is amongst them, but this is his downfall.
He's really probably the one travelling better than any at the moment, and then he just gets too close into that fence, hits it very hard. Jamie Railton does very well to stay on him, but his race is over there and then, and he's gone from coming into the fence hard on the bridle to coming out of it, never going to win.
So 4 horses still in it.
Yeah, and you wouldn't necessarily pick the winner yet. I'd have thought here that Dunwoody's the Thumbs Up in the pink. I thought he was the one that looked like he could go and win. But I think Cumbrian Challenge has really won it throughout now, staying. He has won over further, and you see he really gets down and stays on well.
Terrific finish. Thumbs Up still in front at the last. Mr. Oddy is still there. Cumbrian Challenge comes, and Time Won't Wait switch towards the stand side.
Yeah, Time Won't Wait was a sort of bit of a lost cause at this stage, really, but the front two both needed to get a good jump, and they both got it. And as you can see, Lorcan's horse is just really staying on better than Thumbs Up. He's probably, Thumbs Up just comes to the end of his tether. He nearly gets caught for second, and Cumbrian Challenge stays on really well.
Well, a great win, and a smashing ride from Lorcan Wyer.
Absolutely, yeah. It's great to see Lorcan riding winners again, because he's had desperate luck with injury.
Right, and now, are we going to the presentation, or we're not? We're not. What I'm going to do now is introduce the man who rode that winner, Lorcan Wyer. Lorcan, many, many congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Lovely ride.
Jamie Osborne would say anything for a few quid, wouldn't he? So,
take us back through the race.
Yeah, we're obviously coming back to 2 miles from 2.5 last time. He didn't seem to quite get the trip in a true run racer there last time, even though he's got winning form over 2.5. But today, with 10-2, we thought we'd just bounce out and get a good position and ride a race from there. Everything went to plan. I jumped a little bit left to ride the race, only because Graham McCourt's horse, Richard Dunwoody's horse, were going a wee bit left, and my lad was just following suit. Got a little bit, he might come off the bridle now and again to ride a race, and he sort of came off it just turning in. But I felt I had enough horse underneath me.
And the fast ground obviously suits him well.
Doesn't worry, he doesn't mind the fast ground, he's got plenty of good form on it, but most jumping horses don't enjoy running on it too often. They get a bit of wear and tear. But touch wood, he's okay, and he's pulled up sound, so there might be another day for him,
Well, I don't know what you got in your head. You may have some wood, but you've got a fair bit of metal there as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've had a real up and down season.
Yeah, my face was in the wrong place at the wrong time last November, But all credit to the staff at Walton Hospital in Liverpool. They did marvellous people, and they did a terrific job. I wouldn't be chatting up too many women now in nightclubs. Sorry, Nora, my wife. She won't enjoy that. No, but I'm just glad to be working again this season.
Yeah. I mean, just recalling that day, you had a crashing fall on Simply Dashing, that was the first thing.
Yeah.
And then Thornton Gate just finished the job for you, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Thornton Gate, it was just a typical hurl race fall. And I'd fallen left, and Russ Garrity was coming behind, and he did everything he could to avoid me, but it's hard to make a horse change direction so soon after a hurl, and he just clipped me, and it was an innocent enough looking fall, but I knew when I was in hospital, when people were peering in behind the curtain and turning away in disgust, I knew I was in big trouble.
So you came back, and in March you ride the same horse, Thornton Gate. The same thing happens again.
Same thing at Doncaster. He just stepped a bit at the hurl, and unfortunately the poor old horse, he actually ran back to the stable yard and collapsed and died. A lot of people say, well, it's a good thing in a way, but I don't feel that way. He was a great servant to us last season, and obviously something wasn't quite right with him, and he's no longer with us. So
well, trainers haven't forgotten you anyway, because you got a great ride in the Grand National on General Wolfe, who gave you a good ride, a fair bit of a ride.
That's right, yeah. I mean, didn't have a very big in-depth discussion with Captain Foster afterwards. I think, with all due respect to the captain, I think he thinks most jockeys should be working on the coal mines, you know. No, but I think he quite understood the ground was a little bit quick for General Wolfe. He popped away like a bunny rabbit, but just wasn't quick enough on the ground. And maybe if they got some rain next year, it might be. They wouldn't get away from him so early in the race, and it'd be a good ride for anybody. If I still have my license next year, I'd love to ride him again, you know.
Oh, will you have the license next year?
Oh, God, yeah. No doubt. No doubt. I'm enjoying it very much.
Well, well done tonight. Enjoy.
Thank you very much.
That's Lorcan Wyer, and now we can join the presentation and Richard Sedman.
Yes, and what a lovely painting to take home. And the director, Paul Wilson, from Michael Page Group, the sponsoring firm here, will be presenting this to Granger Morgan Evans, who is the travelling head lad to Tim Easterby. Neither Tim nor the owners, Cumbrian Industrials, are here tonight. In fact, I know the people who own Cumbrian Industrials Limited. They're the Pallister family. They've been great supporters of the Easterbys over the years, and they've had a lot of horses, all with the Cumbrian prefix to the name there. They're proud of being they're proud of coming from Cumbria. And there is Granger Morgan Evans. We've seen him on the tracks for donkey's years now. He's been with Peter Easterby, and then was taken on by Tim, and a great team member up there at Great Hampton, just outside of Malton. So you'll have to be taking that back. I can't actually see from where I am what it is. The water jumped somewhere, but it's obviously got some. Perhaps it's here at Ascot. I don't know. But anyway, the presenter was Paul Wilson from the Michael Page Group. Well done, and may they return in the future.
Well done, then. Well, I'm so pleased for Lorcan Wyer. It's wonderful that he comes back bouncing. And, well, Jamie knows better than anyone. It's all about losing teeth and and worse things, but Lorcan really has had a few bashes, hasn't he?
He has. I mean, he's had a desperate run of luck, and things just haven't gone right for him. And while he's been off, he's missed a lot of winners, and it can get very demoralising. And but there's nothing like coming back here and riding a good winner like that. Now he'll go into the summer with full of enthusiasm.
Well, now some jockeys, when things are going bad, they drop their leathers. According to Peter Scudamore, you've shortened yours a bit. Is that so?
Well, so he tells me. I think probably had an old pair that snapped, and I was too mean to buy a new one, so I just had to ride a bit shorter. But I ride as I feel comfortable. I think when the ground's riding fast, I think it's easier to ride riding slightly shorter. When the ground's soft, I tend to drop them a couple of holes because horses go a bit slower and need a little bit more sort of yourself wrapped around them. So, but no, I just think everybody rides how they feel comfortable. I don't think anybody's really governed by fashion. I think it's just as you feel fit.
Right. Well, a couple of meetings ago, Joel Toro won here, gave Ian Williams his first winner at Ascot, and if you remember, he said, was the race called by Peter O'Sullivan? It was. The same horse runs again today, and Ian Williams is now talking to Jonathan Powell.
Yes, Ian, you just slipped away from the paddock. How is the horse after his last run here?
The horse is very well after his last run. He came out of his race well. Unfortunately, he's gone up a few pounds in the handicap, and we'll see how he copes with that today.
You've got the great A.P. McCoy on board as well.
Yes, well, hopefully he'll help him around, and as long as they come back together, that'll be the main done.
Ian, we used to see you over here with Francois Dumain's runners when he was winning the King George almost every year. When did you decide to set out on your own and become a trainer?
This time last year I set out on my own, and things got off on not such a particularly good start, but since I've been in my new base up near Birmingham, things have gone very, very well. We've had a good number of winners, and the results have been good.
Are you training flat hand jumping?
I'm training, I've got a mainly jumping string, but I do have half a dozen horses to run on the flat this year. I've just actually bought a nice horse from France, which I'm quite looking forward to running on the flat in the near future. We've got probably 10 horses altogether, I'd imagine, to run on the flat, so it'll keep us going during the summer.
And your dad, Billy Williams, is a great character down in the West Country as a jockey and then a trainer for many years. Is he bringing you up now and then, trying to point you in the right direction?
Well, he keeps pointing me in the right direction, and I keep pointing a few horses in his direction. We like to keep him busy down there, and he has a few horses down there in the summer for me. And during the winter, he's had a couple of the flat horses, and he's actually done a good job.
When you start off, of course, you have to go for the minor races, but having been with Francois Dumain and seeing how it's done at the very top, are you ambitious to do as well as him?
I'm very ambitious. I mean, I think anybody that starts in this training job is ambitious to be there at the top, and until we're winning the Gold Cup, we'll always be ambitious. It's nice to have steeplechasers like Joel Tara that runs here this evening. If we could have a yard full of those, we'd all be very happy.
And of course, I should mention you were with Jenny Pittman before you went to France, so you certainly had a proper education in how to train horses.
That's right, we've had a good education. Just hopefully put it to good use now.
And are you going to pop over and see your jockey, or have you already given him his instructions?
No, if I don't pop and see him in a minute, he won't know whether to turn left or right out of the stables.
Off you go.
Thank you very much.
That's Ian Williams. I remember his father, Billy Williams, going around at Buxley and Newton Abbot in the olden days from the 50s. The Devon Circuit, those were the days. Right, on now to this third race, the John Molam Novices Handicap Steeplechase, runners and riders from Peter.
Number 1 is Mr. Pickpocket, ridden by Jason Titley. 2, Wee Windy, Philip Hyde. 3 is Joel Tara, ridden by Tony McCoy. 4, Domaine de Prawn, ridden by Robert Bellamy. 5 is Glenfin Princess, Warren Marston. 6, Gaelic Blue, Richard Guest. 7, Key to Moyard, Norman Williamson. 8, Grizzly Bear, Jim Cullity. And 10 is Ballydugan, ridden by Timmy Murphy. Here's how they bet.
And Gaelic Blue is the favourite 3-1 from 7-2. Joltara and Glenfin Princess both 4-1. Domaine de France 7s from 6s, along with Wee Windy, who opened at 7-1. 9's Keita Moyard, 12 Mr. Pickpocket, 14-1 Grizzly Bear from 12s, and 50-1 Ballydugan.
Jamie Osborne fancies a funny one here. Number 7, Keita Moyard, 9-1. Jamie?
Well, I tried a favourite and a third favourite, so I thought I'd go for an outsider here. But this horse, I beat him. He finished second to me at Doncaster earlier in the year on very similar ground to this. I was riding Be Rude Not To, who went on to finish 4th in the Sun Alliance Chase. That was a hell of a good run, and he made Be Rude Not To go. And so I followed this horse, and he has been slightly disappointing. He didn't jump too well at Cheltenham last time, but he wasn't beaten too far by a horse who's gone and won again since, boots and all. And I think off a market for 87 today, I think he must have a serious chance as long as he jumps all right. He will go on the ground. He's got Norman on him today. Norman, no doubt, will know exactly what to do. And I think he just could be value at 8 or 9-1.
Well, it sounds pretty convincing to me. What do the boys think?
Yes, as usual, Jamie's put it very well in his eloquent manner. I agree with him. Keita Moyard has an excellent chance. If you go back a race further from that, at Doncaster, where he finished 4th. He finished 4th to Noyan, as we saw last week, went on and won at Punchestown, and Kenmore Speed, who won a Sandown on Saturday. So even that form looks very, very good indeed. So he must have an outstanding chance. Would you agree with me, Richard?
I would never deem to disagree with you, Scu, because you've got A levels, so I would. But, of course, this does bring in, when you mentioned Kenmore Speed, it brings in Sue Smith's horse, Gaelic Blue, you know, which in here has a big chance. Lovely horse running in the colours for Trevor Hemmings, who has a lot of good horses with several trainers. But this one, you know, I suppose we've just got to wonder whether he'll jump round here. He has got some in and out form. He's won his last, or 3 of his last 4, but he has fallen twice and unseated his rider in his last 6 runs. So if he can get it together around here, then he ought to be a major danger.
You can see why he makes the odd mistake. I mean, horses, as they get older, they tend to learn to jump better. But he's a great, big, sort. Doesn't look the quickest thinking, most athletic sort in the world, does he? But he obviously has a lot of ability.
Yes, he's slightly flat-backed, isn't he?
He's long, isn't he? And, you know, looks a little bit cumbersome at times.
But we wish him well. Now, just in front of him is Joltara by strong statement. Roger Barby's colours, Tony McCoy on board. And yes, I can remember how thrilled Ian Williams was when Joltara did the business here last time. And more so the fact that Peter O'Sullivan was commentating that day. So perhaps he'll have a double celebration with a win here. Well, it was 3 miles and half a furlong. For novices, very few of them truly get it, Skew. But his second to act the wag prior to that, only beaten half a length at Sandown over the same trip, was good enough to see him win here last time, wasn't it?
That's right, and he does seem to like Ascot because the race that he won here last year, he was second in the time before, wasn't he? So he's not the most proficient of jumpers, but he's a fairly safe conveyance.
Right, well, safe, let's hope he stays safe, because jumping is the name of the game. And going down the hill, of course, they really run on their forehand, and yet, quite remarkably, horses make mistakes coming up the hill, don't they, where they should be much easier to jump. We'll see that one just canter off under Tony McCoy. Nice temperament. Number 4, Demand de Prong. Now, this is yet another French bred that was bought quite reasonably by Lavinia Taylor. She owns and trains. Bought this for 12 grand in France, Skew, and we've seen it actually running quite well on several occasions. I do like this.
Yeah, he won at Worcester, but he's also, I watched him 10 days ago when he was just failed to get up at Stratford, ran a really good race. A number of fallers in that race, which gave him the opportunity, but his form is good. He's got 11 stone 1 on his back. He's probably handicapped high enough for the horses he's beaten, but he could still be improving.
Yes, he was second to Big Archie that day. I saw the race too. It was ding-dong battle to the line, wasn't it? But he's got 11 stone 1 here in this novice's handicap. That may be a little bit high for what he's done. As he canters down to the post, 3 miles and half a furlong is just down the back. Oh, he's just jinking at something. He's seeing something that we haven't seen anyway. Robert Bellamy is on his back there. He's definitely...
I think what they see is the other horse is cantering back towards them, isn't it? Going back round to the start, and it encourages them to whip round. I have seen jockeys fall off when they've done that, but he's going all right now, following the others back round.
The well-named Grizzly Bear, this one, in the colours of George Barlow. Jim Cullity rides him. Came good last time.
Yes, trained by Robert Strong. Many viewers will probably remember Robert riding Big Brown Bear for George Barlow in the National a few years, giving him a great ride up there for a long time. And Robert, who's just beginning on his training career, gets his horses looking very well. And this is another great big stamp of a horse, isn't it?
Do you know, he also rides, Robert, who trains us, also rides eventing. I've seen him at Blenheim in a good event there.
Brave man.
Yes, but let's concentrate on this one because it's 1 over 3 1/4 miles at Uttoxeter. Beat Lock Garman Hotel and Final Beat. Did it by 2 lengths and 22. Again, may not have just quite the pace to pick this decent race up.
That's right. I mean, the answer to tipping horses, I always think, is to mention as many as possible. But all there is with this is that there's many horses with a chance. A lot of horses you can't rule out.
Well, what about Glenfin Princess then? This one coming here is a mare, as her name suggests, by Ginger Boy, who was a much underrated stallion and has come an awful long way from Peter Bowen's yard, which is almost in Ireland, isn't it?
That's right, but he is a superb trainer. The horse looks fantastic here today. He had a winner on the flat earlier in the week, or on Saturday at Leicester. I think this man is a real man to watch, and you can see it there. He really pays attention to detail. The horse looks superb, and this really could be the one that's improving more than anything. I think if I had to say anything for one to win, this is the one I'd go for, Glenfin Princess.
Yep, she won at Chepstow over 3 1/4 miles last time. What about Wee Windy for Josh? I mean, his horse Yorkshire Gale in the Whitbread was bang up there, wasn't it, when it fell 2 out or at the pond?
Yes, and I remember watching this run first time he ever ran over fences at Chepstow. He ran a really good race. Been a little bit disappointing at times since then, but he's got good hurdle race form, jumps well in the main, and another one that you can't leave out, just as I say, just giving that £8 to Glenfin Princess may prove too much. Now 7 to 1.
What about Mr. Pickpocket from Henrietta Knight's stable? Henrietta and Terry, we saw them wandering up hand in hand to go and saddle this one. Great partnership there.
Yes, he looks well handicapped. And he looks, not well handicapped. He looks high in the handicaps, and he looks exposed for what he's done. He's been beaten around some of the smaller tracks, but he's won at Taunton, won a handicap round Taunton. He stays 3 mile. He acts on any time Piper ground. He's a tough and genuine front runner, and he's the mount of Jason Titley.
So there with the diamond is Mr. Pickpocket and Jason Titley on board, just looking there at the orange.
Number 10 there is Ballydugan, horse we've seen run around here a couple of times. Really doesn't look to have any chance in any form that we've seen so far. Ridden by Timmy Murphy, just pulling his goggles down. He's 50 to 1 from 33 to 1, and that probably reflects his price.
Okay, well, let's just have a look at the leaders in the market, because they'll be off very shortly. Gallic Blue 3s, 4 to 1 Joltara, 9 to 2 Glenfin Princess. Demand de Prawn is 6.5 to 1, 7's bar that quartet. Let's go over to Peter O'Sullivan. We hear the starter say, walk 'em round, it won't be long.
Line up.
They're told to line up and to wait. Glenfin Princess barges the tape there, they're told to turn. Just one appeal. Mr. Pickpocket can't get in, it's just been turned. Coming back to join him now. 20 fences this time, this John Molan Novices Handicap Chase.
Take it wide, you get more run there.
Still waiting for Mr. Pickpocket to turn and come in and join the others. Now Gaelic Blue has turned. This should be it.
Right, last chance. Last chance.
Still rather reluctant, this Mr. Pickpocket. Been told it's his last chance.
Take it to the outside. Take it to the outside for your last chance.
Told to go to the outside for his last chance.
Right, come on.
That's it, and they're away. Mr. Pickpocket's all right. Glenfin Princess and Mr. Pickpocket a little bit slow. As they come to the first, it's Wee Windy and Joltara and Key to Moyode. So run down towards the second. Wee Windy from Joltara, Key to Moyode, and then Gaelic Blue, and then Domaine de Prawn. All safely over that. Coming down to the first of the ditches, Joltara the leader from Wee Windy and Glenfin Princess. Glenfin going up to be second now. Joltara from Glenfin Princess. They jump it together. Wee Windy next, and then Mr. Pickpocket and Gaelic Blue and Key to Moyode. Glenfin Princess, the leader. From Joltara, over the water, Mr. Pickpocket moved up into third on the inside, Wee Windy 4, then Key to Moyode and Gaelic Blue. Behind them come Grizzly Bear. Joltara going back on the outside of Glenfin Princess, with Mr. Pickpocket third as they come to the next. Number 5, Joltara from Glenfin Princess and Mr. Pickpocket and Wee Windy. Joltara, Glenfin Princess, Mr. Pickpocket, Wee Windy. Gaelic Blue comes next after a little gap, and then Key to Moyode on the inside. And then Grizzly Bear over the 6th, and there it was Joltara on the inside of Glenfin Princess and Mr. Pickpocket quite close to them. Coming to the second of the ditches now. Glenfin Princess on the outside of Joltara. Joltara going on again from Glenfin. Mr. Pickpocket quite close to them. A gap then to Wee Windy and Grizzly Bear over the 8th. Joltara and Glenfin Princess from Mr. Pickpocket. Wee Windy and Grizzly Bear. Then Key to Moyode. Then Domaine de Prawn. And then comes Gaelic Blue. And last is Ballydugan. into the home stretch on this first circuit, and Joltara the leader at number 9. From Glenfin Princess and Mr. Pickpocket. Little gap then to Wee Windy and Key to Moyode, and then Grizzly Bear. Coming down to number 10, be the 20th and last next time round. Joltara lands in the lead from Glenfin Princess and Mr. Pickpocket. Little gap then to Key to Moyode and Grizzly Bear and Wee Windy. Then Domaine de Prawn and Gaelic Blue. And then Ballydugan. Joltara by about a length and a half from Glenfin Princess. A gap of 2 then to Mr. Pickpocket. A gap of about 6 to Wee Windy, Grizzly Bear and Key to Moyard. With Gaelic Blue, Ballydugan next, and Domaine de Prawn, the back marker. Joltara ran a little bit wide round that turn, but still has a commanding advantage. In fact, has extended that advantage over Mr. Pickpocket, who's now got second. Glenfin Princess, then Grizzly Bear and Wee Windy, number 11 this. Joltara jumps it ahead of Mr. Pickpocket. Gap of about 4 then to Glenfin. Gaelic Blue is making steady progress. Wee Windy's next, and then Key to Moyard and Grizzly Bear. Number 12. Lovely jump by the leader, Joltara, from Mr. Pickpocket. Gaelic Blue has gone into third, coming down to a third ditch now with Joltara. This course winner leading Mr. Pickpocket. Gaelic Blue third, Key to Moyard 4, 5 Wee Windy, 6 getting reminders, Glenfin Princess over the water now. Joltara, the clear leader at it. Joltara lands clear of Mr. Pickpocket. Then Gaelic Blue and Key to Moyard jumping in unison. Domaine de Prawn has made a little ground, and then comes Wee Windy, then Glenfin, then Grizzly Bear, and finally Ballydugan. Joltara, the leader, in the black Roger Barbie colours as they come down towards the next. Got a 4-length advantage over Mr. Pickpocket with Gaelic Blue and Key to Moyard still making ground. 6 out. Another beautiful jump by the leader there, Joltara. Gaelic Blue has moved into second. Pickpocket is third. 4 is Key to Moyard. 5 out. Joltara once again puts in a beauty. About 5 clear of Gaelic Blue. Coming down to the final ditch, 4 from home now. Joltara jumps it like a buck. He's got a 4 to 5 length advantage over Gaelic Blue, who's still trying to get on terms. Coming down to the third last now. Joltara with a 5 length advantage. Jumps it 5 clear of Gaelic Blue, who's 5 clear of Key to Moyard. Then comes Mr. Pickpocket and Domaine de Prawn. And the leader turns for home now with 2 fences left to jump in the John Molam Novices Handicap Chase. And Joltara has got a clear advantage here as he comes to the second last. Joltara with his white face showing, jumps it 4 clear of Gaelic Blue and jumps it better than Gaelic Blue, is now under pressure. Coming down to the final fence in the John Molam Novices Handicap Chase. And it's Joltara in line to complete a double at Ascot for Ian Williams under Tony McCoy. Joltara comes to it, jumps it well, striding away, no danger, racing up towards the line. Joltara has the John Molam Novices Handicap Chase well sewn up. Tony can look over his left shoulder, eases down as he comes to the line. Joltara the winner, Gaelic Blue is second. Domaine de Prawn runs on very strongly to be third with 4 Mr. Pickpocket, 5 Key to Moyard, and 6, the only other finisher, Ballydugan, because pulled up where Grizzly Bear, Glenfin Princess and Wee Windy. The result is first, number 3, Joltara, owned by Mr. Roger Barbie, trained by Ian Williams and ridden by Tony McCoy. Second was number 6, Gaelic Blue, owned by Mr. Trevor Hemmings, trained by Mrs. Sue Smith and ridden by Richard Guest. And third was number 4, Domaine de Prawn, owned by Mrs. L.C. Taylor, Mrs. Lavinia Taylor, that is, trained by her and ridden by Robert Bellamy with 4th, number 1, Mr. Pickpocket. This is the winner, Joltara.
Well, stupidly beforehand I said he's only a proficient jumper, but really he's put an exhibition round of jumping up. He's really given a positive ride by Tony McCoy, but just watch his hands here, Richard, and watch how he really does present his horses beautifully to a fence, rides with such confidence, and it was a great riding performance. obviously riding a horse that's good enough to do it. Gaelic Blue has run a good race in second, but really he's got this field well strung out.
Yes, I like the way that Joltara went down the hill to Swinley Bottom. He pricked his ears, and Tony left him alone quite often, and the horse would react to that. You know, look at him here, pricking his ears, and just a gentle hold Tony got of his head. They were as one.
But that is so important, isn't it? The thing I was saying before, there's not a great deal to riding. It really is just a fine touch, and Tony McCoy has got that fine touch. Just beautiful hands going over that fence, just eases the horse over the fence without flapping in and encouraging him to make a mistake.
Yes, and I'm pleased that Gaelic Blue has jumped round here. I had my reservations beforehand, but he's done well to finish second there. So Tony McCoy, champion jockey, and will be again this season. This side of the horse, his young trainer Ian Williams on the far side. Well, it's a good success, this, and I'm sure the horse, when he goes handicapping, will stay further.
Yeah, I agree. He's one to watch.
So if you back this horse, you'll be collecting, and you'll be collecting at these odds. Starting prices from Graham.
The winner, Joltara, returned at 4-1. Second, number 6, Gaelic Blue, the 11-4 favourite. Third, number 4, Domaine de Pran, 13-2. Totes win 460, places 190, 150, 280. Dual forecast £6, straight forecast 14.69, and tricast 63.21. Huntingdon 6.15. First, number 5, Raymond Madrid, 30-2. Second, number 1, Absolute Limit, the 11-8 favourite. And third, number 6, Underwater Scuba Diver, 9-2. Take returns win 670, places 320, 110, 130. Dual forecast 770, straight forecast 14.95. Earlier results from Ascot at 5:30. First, number 5, Freddie, the 11-4 favourite. Second, number 3, Meditator, 6-1. Third, number 4, Carrar at 6-1. Ascot, the 6 o'clock. First, number 7, Cumbrian Challenge, 10-1. Second, number 6, Thumbs Up, 7-1. And third, number 5, Mr. Oddy, 7-1.
One more jumping meeting on BBC television this spring, and that's the big meeting at Haydock on Saturday, where the feature event is the Crowther Holmes Swinton Handicap Hurdle. And that's a check on the 3 races we cover that day. And you can see the big one is the 210, and the horse ridden by Jamie Osborne is that old character, Green Desert. What are you going to make sense of that?
Well, it'll be the first time I've ridden him. I'm only riding him because David Bridgewater's injured. And what I've seen of him, he's interesting. He has bags of ability. We've seen him on the flat many times and now jumping. He arrives there in his races looking like he's going to win well, and some days he goes through with it and some days he doesn't. So I'll be hoping that I can find the key to him. But
hoping it's a going day. Jamie, thank you for joining us. Before then, of course, we have another day at Ascot, the first day of the flat tomorrow, where the feature event is the Insulpac Sagaro Stakes, the best trial for the Gold Cup, and a rematch between last year's first and second Double Trigger and Grey Shot. And remember, the next Ascot meeting after tomorrow is the Royal meeting. And here's a check on the Royal Ascot ticket information line. The number to ring is 01344 876 456. And just a reminder, if you missed it, that it was a day that belonged to the North, Cumbrian Challenge and Lorcan Wyer. Goodbye.
Ground, just in behind the leaders. Cumbrian Challenge still there towards the right of the picture, not far behind the lead. Coming down towards the final fence now. Thumbs Up in the centre. Mr. Oddy on the far side. Cumbrian Challenge and Lorcan Wyer putting down a challenge now towards the near side. Thumbs Up from Cumbrian Challenge now at the final fence. Thumbs Up comes to it, just the leader from Cumbrian in second, racing into the closing stages. And Cumbrian Challenge is beginning to sprint on the near side, and it looks as though he's going to win it, and striding up towards the line, Cumbrian Challenge wins it. At the line, Cumbrian Challenge is the winner. Second is Thumbs Up.
Christmas scene 3, take 25.
Young running.
Music on.
Action.